morning, everybody. I'm acting Sergeant at Arms for Daybreak Toastmasters, and it's 7 a.m. And I am going to start our meeting this morning. Our normal Sergeant at Arms should be here. I talked to him last night. He has been away, and we're going to welcome him back as soon as he walks through the door. Everybody will be really glad to see him. First order of business is I'd like to bring up our president, our current president of Daybreak Toastmasters, Paula Wooden. Welcome to Daybreak Santa Clarita. This is the only morning club in Santa Clarita where we are moving forward, accomplishing our goals, and helping others before most people start their day. And congratulations on getting up and coming on over. I'm so excited. This morning, we have a very exciting day. We are in the process of changing our leadership. We just had a vote last time we met, and we will have the induction of our new officers and the happy farewell to those who are our old officers. So it's a kind of a nice day if you're a guest. This is not something we do every week, but it is an annual transition. We are going to have an amazing meeting, but before we do that, I want to remind everybody, please silence your cell phones so they don't go off in the middle of somebody's speech, because that's difficult when you're trying to keep track of stuff. Also, in just a moment, we're going to be doing our Pledge of Allegiance, because that is part of our tradition in this club. So please rise so we can do that. Where did our flag go? There it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. This morning, we have an experienced Toastmaster. She has been our president in this club in the past. She became the area governor. I believe she's going to be moving up to the next level, correct? To be is that district? Division governor. Oh, division governor. I have had the pleasure. I've had the pleasure of watching her go from an early Toastmaster who was absolutely terrified and sat here like this when she was up front doing her speech, to being the confident and capable person she is today. And I'm here to tell you Toastmasters has helped her with that process, and she'll tell you the same. Will you please welcome Kathleen Lubitz.
Thank you so much. I am delighted to be here with you this morning, and we are going to have a great meeting. We're going to have some fun. Now, the theme of this meeting this morning is I wish. The Toastmaster or the VP of Education can choose the theme of the meeting, and each of our meetings has a theme. So I wish. As Paula mentioned, this year's voting has concluded, and it is with great pleasure that I want to announce the nominating committee reports that the whole slate of officers, proposed officers, was unanimously elected. So I wish to extend best wishes and congratulations to all the outgoing officers as well as the incoming officers. And as Paula mentioned, we will have the installation of the new officers today. We're expecting a special guest, and we may make a little arrangement in the schedule today for installation of officers. First, before we start the meeting, I'd like to introduce our functionaries. These are the people that make the meeting happen. And when I call your name, please stand and explain a little bit about your role today. Our counter today is Boo Sue.
I'm Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honor guest. My name is Boo, not a filler. I'm a first-time counter today. I try my best, listen for ahs, ums, and other unnecessary fillers, like and keeping track of how many we use. So I try my best, and I'll give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Excellent. Our vote master is a member we haven't seen in a while, Brian Small.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster and Area Governor, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I'll be counting your votes today. I will, when called upon, you make your vote. As a matter of fact, you might even pre-tear your little voters to make it easier to collect. But I will collect those, and when called upon to do so, I will give a report to our Toastmaster at the end of the meeting. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Our grammarian, Cindy Stevens.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, I'm a grammarian today. I will be watching for good, poor use of the English language. Grammatical errors, especially colorful use of words, especially effective use of words. I also provide the word of the day, and today the word is coterie, and it's a group of people who associate closely, an exclusive group or a clique. And my favorite is a group of prairie dogs occupying a communal burrow. So I don't know if you're going to find that, but so, and I will give you a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Okay. Our next functionary I'd like to introduce is our table topics master, Cersei Denyer.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I am what's called Table Topics Master. I'm in charge of calling on members of the room to give an impromptu 1 to 2 minute speech. I give a question and you give me the answer. It can be an answer that you think in that instant that I asked the question. So the trick here is listen to the question carefully, start formulating your answer, pause briefly, and then speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Madam Toastmaster.
And our general evaluator for the meeting, our President Paula Whitten.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I am going to be our general evaluator. What that means is I am observing the whole club meeting, and I will be analyzing and discovering what we as a club do well and how we can improve.
And our timer.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. My name is Claudia Carr. I'm going to be your timer this morning. I'll be keeping track of everyone's time. If you speak under or over time, you are disqualified for a vote for a ribbon. I will give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
And Toastmasters were very aware of the time, and it's great training. So thank you for all the functionaries. We are going to have a little change in the schedule. We will have our installation of officers at the end of the meeting, the club meeting. We have, for our guests, we have 3 parts to our meeting. The first part is our prepared speakers. These are people who sign up in advance and prepare a speech, usually 5 to 7 minutes. And then we have table topics, which Cersei explained. And then we also have evaluations of the prepared speakers. So I'd like to start out introducing our prepared speaker for today. He is working on the Competent Communication Manual, project number 4, which is called How You Say It. The title of his speech is Expand Yourself Through Travel. Now, our speaker says that many people change for the better through personal experiences. Our speaker opened up his mind to new and better ways of thinking, all thanks to travel. Please help me welcome Gabe Brewery.
Thank you. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Going to one of the world's biggest political hotspots is scary, especially when you're a sheltered teenager from Santa Clarita who's never really left Southern California. This was especially scary for me because I really had a warped, I wouldn't say warped, but I would have to say a bit jaded, like a jaded view of the world. I didn't really see other cultures as important. Now, at this time, I was at the age of 16, so it was very scary for me having this idea of traveling anywhere outside of the United States. And having the ability to travel outside of the United States at that age, or the luxury I should say, doesn't come every day. But luckily, my dad was planning a trip to the Middle East because I had family there. I had family in Damascus, which is in Syria, and I also had family in Beirut, Lebanon. And one last one, also in Tyre, which is on the border with Lebanon and Israel. It's kind of a political hotspot if you know what happened there recently in the recent years. So at first I was really excited. I didn't know what to make of the whole trip, but as the trip approached, I was starting to get really nervous. I didn't really want to go. And then when I finally left, it was one of the longest flights of my life, and probably one of the worst flights of my life. But when I finally landed, it was great, until I got off the airplane. It was superhuman. Every aspect of the place, the topography, the way the building looked, seeing armed guards for the first time walking around with semi-automatic weapons, just walk right by you, was really scary. Driving to my grandma's house, who I was visiting in Beirut, Lebanon, was also scary. Seeing torn down buildings from the Civil War, just seeing dogs walking around the street, it looked like a wasteland. When I finally got there, I was having a bit of culture shock. I wasn't hearing any English, it was very scary for me. Plus, my family, which none of them really spoke English, I had to learn a bit of Arabic before I left, didn't really help the culture shock. Turning on the TV, it was interesting seeing all sorts of political talks with different people that I've never heard of in different languages. And with my very barred mind, I really thought they were talking about things that were anti-US and all of this. And I mean, it was every single aspect of this entire place was starting to scare me. Mixed in with jet lag, it didn't really help. They didn't even have cornflakes there, the milk never sounded. I could just go on and complain, and I didn't even want to leave the house until one day I actually sat down and I started to observe things that were going on around me. Instead of comparing them to my own culture, I started to look at them and I realized that I don't need to compare them to my own culture because doing that makes me confused of why they're so different. I just need to observe them and accept them as a different culture. So I did that. I watched a bit of television, tried to understand what was going on, watched a bit of the Arabic soap operas. They were kind of fun. And then eventually I got the courage to leave the house. And I really figured out that this entire place, all of Beirut, all of Lebanon, and most of the Middle East was a really nice place. The people were very nice. There was a lot to see. And let me tell you, the food is really different, but it's excellent. Finally, one day I had to leave. So, coming back, I had to stay in Jordan before I actually went back to the US. And in the hotel room there, I kind of had somewhat of an epiphany. I was sitting down and my mind was racing about all these different ideological differences between the US and the Middle East and I started to think of all these different places around the globe. It's very different from us, yet we still like to think that we're better for some reason, when everybody just does something differently. And if we just accept that, then there wouldn't be all these problems, there wouldn't be all these conflicts, and my mind was racing and I wanted to go to bed really badly. But eventually, by the time I got back, I was starting to think about all these new ways of thinking. When I finally got back, I changed most of my values, most of my beliefs, and I started to think, was I going through a big change in my life, or was this because of my trip? And the interesting thing about that too was everybody around me was thinking I was going through some phase of accepting liberal ideals. I was kind of raised in a semi-conservative family, so it wasn't really a change because it wasn't a phase, in my opinion. Going there, I discovered a lot of different things. I discovered that the aspects of people's lives were different because of their own cultures, and that's something to embrace. Because if everybody just tried to be like one specific country, then there would be the interesting things in the world wouldn't exist at all. So I kind of view this trip, which was only 2 weeks, as one of the big pinnacle moments of my life where I realized that people are all different and that the world isn't as scary as it seems sometimes. Not only did this whole trip broaden my idea of culture, but it also changed my whole worldviews for the better. And this is why I really embrace travel. And I want everybody in this room, one time in their life, to go somewhere where there's a different culture that's not similar to ours, and not to compare it to theirs, but just to look at it with open eyes and say, you know what? This culture is different, but I'm willing to accept that these people are different, and maybe you'll discover something interesting about the way they live. So I embrace everybody in this room to travel. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabe. Wow. It's amazing what we learn when we travel. And I didn't know there were soap operas in the Middle East. As I said, well, we also learn here in Toastmasters, and I just learned something. And what I learned is that when you're supposed to wear eyeglasses, you need to wear them.
Yes.
And so I apologize to Gabe. I mispronounced your name because I did not have my glasses on.
It's very common, it's fine.
Gabe Bakori,
Yes.
correct? Okay, thank you, Gabe. May I have a timer's report? We have one speaker today. May I have a timer's report?
Oh, he was just under 7 minutes at 6:58, so he made it.
Perfect. And since we only have one speaker today, we will not be voting on best speaker, but would you take a moment and just make some comments, give Gabe some feedback, some things that he did well on his speech, and if you have any suggestion for improvement. The next part of our meeting will be table topics. And to run this part of the meeting, I would like to call up our Vice President of Education, DTM, Cersei Denyer.
Ooh, your hands are cold. See if we can warm them up. Clapping more. Everybody look down at the agenda in front of them. Did you notice it wasn't white? Well, purple is the color of royalty, of celebration. So I had purple paper, and I decided to print our agenda on purple. To you, would you please finish this sentence? Purple is the color of Jerry.
Whoa!
Oh, sure, hit me the first.
That's right. Welcome back.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Let me tell you about the color purple. It's not just the name of a movie, it is the color of me. It is the color of me, as is red, blue, green, yellow, white, and every other color in the rainbow, and then some. And why? Because I am not a box. I am not residing in a box. I am not to be placed in a box. I am not to be one who will allow myself to be categorized. as X, as purple. Purple is a wonderful color. Vibrant, sometimes sexy. Sometimes it's just there. But isn't that true with every other color of the rainbow? And it's with that understanding that we should all understand our own colors are just as vibrant, just as unique, and just as wide a spectrum as we all will allow them to be.
Today's theme is I wish. There was a lyric in a song, and it went something like this: wishing and hoping and planning and dreaming. When you think of that, those 4 words, in conjunction with things that you desire, what comes to mind? Cindy.
Oh.
That's it.
Oh, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Welcome back, Jerry. I was wishing, hoping, and planning and dreaming that you
Well, you know, we are a coterie.
We are. Wow, I love wishing and planning and dreaming and hoping. That's what fuels me, what fuels who I am. Many of you know I'm a teacher by trade, and it's also my passion. And one of the most beautiful things that I get to experience as a teacher is inspiring my students to become the best that they can become. And they do that with their wishes and their hopes and their planning and their dreaming. You know, when I was a little girl, I used to play that I was going to be a teacher. And I never ever in my wildest dream thought that that's what I'd become. But guess what happened? I guess I dreamed a lot about it. And I got to fulfill those dreams, and I get to live my dream every day. And incorporated in that dream is all the wish and hopes that I have for not only myself, but the people that I interact with. So that's a great song, and the minute that Circe said it, that popped into my head. So I'm gonna end with wishing and hoping and planning and dreaming. Thank you.
Thank you. This morning, we all got up before the sun rose to get here, or at least just as it was rising. When you first woke up this morning, did you have something that you wished for this day? Stephen.
When I first woke up, the sound that I heard was right there. I absolutely thought I just need another half hour of sleep time. That was my first thought. But then after I woke up, put my shoes on, brushed my teeth, washed my hair, I was really wishing that I could not only come here and talk to people here and interact with people at our Toastmasters meeting, but just throughout the day, I really wanted to make one important, essential change in someone's life today. And that's kind of on a daily basis, if we can make one change in one person's life. We have 5 days a week, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of making essential, inspired change. Think about all the people that you can change in your lifetime. Thank you.
Walt Disney was a giant in the imagination industry. And in one of his movies, he used wishing as a theme. And he said, "Dreams are a wish your heart makes." Wishes are emotions. They're things that happen on the inside. And we hope that they happen. But to me, wishes are things that actually have already begun to happen. And all we have to do is get next to them. If you had one wish that you could make happen right now in your life, what would that be? Right.
Madam Table Topic Master, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. There are many wishes that I would have for myself and for you, actually. And to pick out the one most best would be difficult. But it would have to be something about improvement. That's why I'm here. That's probably why you are here in this esteemed coterie. My mom used to tell me that when she passes, she wants to think back on her life and say, I hope there was one person I was able to help. And that sort of stuck with me. And I guess that's become my theme also in life, to be able to reach out and help other people and to somehow be there for them, even if I'm in need also. There's something about helping others that makes your needs not quite as bad or big. And so, out of all the possibilities, I think that would be the one I would pick as my most favorite. And Table Topics Master.
This next table topics question is hand-picked for someone in this room. Miss Paula, would you join me at the lectern?
Tell me the question.
This is like table topics contest. You are embarking on a new level in your life. You are leaving the role of president of Toastmasters, Daybreak Toastmasters, and you are focusing more on your family. If you had a wish for this part of your life, this change that's happening in your life, that you could really instrumentally see happen in the next 365 days, what would that be?
Being a Toastmasters president is a fun job. It gives you an opportunity to help with all sorts of different people and really get a chance to grow as an individual, as a leader. And then what happens is, at the end of that time frame, you transition, you hand it over to the next person who will become the president. And I was very aware of the fact that each week my family, my kids have all gotten in the habit of, "You're going to Toastmasters this morning, right? You're going to Toastmasters." My kids even reminded me last night, "Don't forget, you're going to Toastmasters," because, by the way, a couple weeks ago, did forget. So I was sitting there going, okay. And we're getting ready to wrap this season up as far as this kind of leadership. But my leadership in my family continues all the time, because as a mom of 2 kids, I'm always trying to guide and trying to lead them and trying to help them. My oldest is going into high school. My youngest just wants to be more involved. She's so funny because she's told me that in junior high, she's supposed to do homeschool, because that's what I did with my oldest. And somehow that's a tradition. Actually, it had to do with the personality of my oldest, so we'll see what happens with my youngest. But trying to figure out what the next wish would be is difficult, because part of my wishes involve seeing what they're doing and kind of feeding off of where they are. So it's hard for me to say, I wish this thing. I guess what I wish is progress. I wish for success in the family, to see them fit in, to see them connect with people, to see them build confidence and grow. One of the things that I love about my oldest is that we've had an opportunity to spend time together as she's doing this homeschooling, but now she's going to public high school. And I'm terrified that they'll eat her alive, but she wants to do it. She wants to be brave, so I want her to get out there and tackle whatever it is, face whatever it is, and make progress. Now, take it.
Would you please look at your ballot and choose the table topics? Oh, I'm sorry. May I have a timer's report before we do that?
Yes, Gary came in at 1:20 on time, Cindy at 1:28 on time, Stephen at 1:15 on time, Brian at 1:09 on time, and Paula at 2:05, which makes them all
qualified.
All qualified.
Now, please take your ballot and choose the best table topics speaker for this morning. And then Bryant will pick up the votes. I would like to return control of the meeting to our Toastmaster, Kathleen Lubin. Thank you. We're a little warmer.
And I remembered my glasses. Perfect. Well, those were great table topics, answers, mini speeches, and we really, in this club, we really have a culture of excellence and growth, and we have fun doing that as well. We all enjoy being with each other. We have a nice coterie. I'd like to shift gears now, and this is the part of our meeting where we have our evaluation of the prepared speakers. Our evaluator for Gabe will be a distinguished Toastmaster, past distinguished district governor, and our Vice President of Membership and PR, please welcome Linnea Millette.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Honored guests, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Brian and Gary who have rejoined us. We have been used. And especially Gabe. Gabe, I wish I was 40 years younger so I could travel with you. I really appreciated your talk. Everybody chuckled at that. Don't you feel like the implications of that? I appreciated your talk because Sissy and I just returned in April from a trip to Cancun, Mexico. And much of what you expressed was our experience too. The flight was terrible, and getting off was a nightmare. And once we settled in, we started to appreciate the cultural differences and how important diversity is to expansion and our whole life. You conveyed that message very well. So Gabe's objective in his talk, how to say it, is the speaker is to use words and arrangements of words that effectively communicate his or her message to the audience. The speaker should select clear, accurate, descriptive, and short words and choose verbs that convey action. Sentence and paragraph construction should be simple and short. The speaker needs to include rhetorical devices, avoid jargon and unnecessary words, and use correct grammar. The speech must have a clear purpose and be appropriately organized. Did Gabe do that? Absolutely. His choice of words were excellent. Jaded view, wasteland, culture shock, cornflakes, epiphany, liberal ideas, good use of words, used within the context of a personal story that made it engaging and something that we could relate to, plus an important life lesson. So it was a very well done speech in terms of the objective of this particular assignment in the Competent Communicator Manual. No evaluation is complete with a couple of areas for it that I may suggest that you might consider for improvement. One is to hold eye contact just a little bit more. You did excellent in scanning the audience, and sometimes your eyes would land on somebody for just a little bit. But I would encourage you to hang on to it for maybe 5 seconds. Feel that, Paula?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Real connection. Real powerful connection. You incorporate that, that's gonna make you an especially powerful and effective speaker. And the other thing I would like to see you do, you did it a little bit, you got away from the lecture here. But as time goes on, I expect we're gonna see a very powerful, good, get out here. And make her wish that she was 40 years younger than you. I don't know, great speech. You are a wonderful, delightful speaker. Happy you're a member of our club. Madam General Evaluator.
Today's club. Now, did you notice, those of you who have been on here on a regular basis, because we had one main speech and one main evaluator, our table topics went longer than normal. And that's a good thing. Because one of the things that we do in Toastmasters is we work on prepared speeches, but we also work on being able to think on the fly, because that's what you do when you're coterie in the mound there, right? You're a coterie who's piled up trying to figure out where to be. You got to adapt. We adapt to the moment. We adapt to the situation, and we figure out how to be successful. One of the great things about our magazine that we get each month, and I still remember this article, is that we are able to learn stuff through each and every possibility, and one of those is our table topics. A lady wrote an entire article about how doing table topics helped her to be ready for radio interviews. So it's a great thing that we were able to have more people involved in our table topics. That was adaptability, and I thank you for the great questions, by the way, Cersei. You were right on there with a lot of good choices, so thank you for that. Gabe, you did a great job.
Thank you.
I appreciate how you're moving forward in your process and how you're building confidence, and you got some great evaluations. I'll be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about 5 full seconds on me, but the idea of being able to help yourself and break that barrier to come out and connect with the audience, it's terrifying. And yet at the same time, once you do it, it's no longer as terrifying. And you get better at it and better at it. So that great evaluation, Linnea. She gave you some wonderful pointers. We were able to go through a lot of stuff, and look at us, we're ahead of time. I'm so excited. We're gonna have
Functionary report.
I know. We're going to be able to have our final wrap-ups, but then also we'll have our initiation, or our induction, excuse me, of our new people. And I believe we may have to adapt and ask somebody else to be our person, because apparently something happened on path for our guest who is coming. But that being said, I'm really excited for this meeting. It was really great. I would like to hear our wrap-up from our functionaries. Boo, as our counter, how did we do?
Madam Toastmaster, following guilty party of our counter, our sayers, Stephen once, Cindy once, Paula twice, Debbie twice, Brian once. If I don't catch your other filler words, please don't blame yourself. Please blame me as a first-time counter. I hope I'll do better next time. Madam Toastmaster.
I encourage you, when you get the role of counter, the great thing about that is it not only helps you to hear the stuff that other people are saying, but it makes you very more hyper-aware of what's going on with you. I will never forget sitting down with a friend of mine who is a leadership trainer who speaks over at Pepperdine and with major organizations throughout the world. and I sat down just having a regular conversation with him. And because of being counter, I was very aware of the fact that this man never said or any filler words. And I just thought, how do you do that? Didn't know that was an option. So getting a chance to do that opens your ears. And Boo, I know you're going to be better and better and better as an counter. You'll hear more because you got to do it. So thank you. Madam Grammarian, how do we do?
Madam Toastmaster, we did amazing. These are the words I heard. First of all, the word of the day was used 4 times. Polly used it, Kathleen used it, okay, I used it. Actually, Jerry used it, but he wasn't speaking, and Bryant used it. And that's not a real easy word to use. But these are the words I heard. Adapt, possibility, confidence, epiphany, pinnacle, jaded view, topography, looked like a wasteland, culture shock, expansion, powerful, effective, categorized, vibrant, spectrum. Those are amazing words. And here, one of the things that I loved about being grammarian today, because normally I have 2 functions, usually a grammarian and counter a lot of the time, and it's hard to focus all that, but I was actually really able to focus, except when it came to Circe. And for some reason, Circe always uses colorful language, and I just get so engrossed in what she's saying that I didn't even mention anything. And she said lots of wonderful words, so I'm going to keep that in mind for myself and how I need to focus. And it really is helping build skills of what you exactly said. It's not only what other people are doing, but reminding myself of what I'm doing.
That's very true. Thank you so much. Cynthia, I would venture to say that as you've heard these colorful words, next time you're shaping a speech, you're going to be more aware of how to create colorful words within it. So it's a great challenge. Now, Mr. Mr. Vote Master, would you please give me the grand total? Please stick around. We are not finished. This will be the finishing of this element, but we will be doing our induction of our new officers following this. As you know, we only had 1 speaker, therefore 1 evaluator, but that does not mean you do not get the award. Because you see, a good percentage of life is showing up. I am absolutely shocked by how often I find out that I've entered some contest or I've volunteered for some event or been involved in some different way and got to be the head of something because I showed up. So, with that in mind, our best speaker of the day, Gabe. You know what? You're probably your own worst competition all the time anyway. So, how we psych ourselves out and how we play with ourselves. And of course that means that Linnea, you are our best evaluator. Matter of fact, I love it when you evaluate. But at the deepest competition, of course, of the day is in table topics. And because of that, I want to really appreciate our winner, who today is Jerry.
At the risk of being redundant, ta-da!
Now at this time, I'm going to ask our most esteemed Toastmaster, a lady who has had 2 DTMs. She has been able to go through all of the possibilities that Toastmasters has to give you, and she's done it twice because she discovered how much she learned from it. She will be inducting our new officers and saying goodbye to our old officers. Linnea, will you please come on up?
We will miss you, won't we?
Yes.
Excellent leader. Joe Loricella, our district governor, which for the guests probably means little, but basically a district governor is the CEO of a nonprofit organization for a year, and it is all volunteer. In Toastmasters, the year is July 1 to June 30th. So she's looking at the last stretch of her year, and I can't even begin to tell you what that's like. Having been a district governor, it is the definition of insanity. In addition, she lives in Burbank, which is quite a ways from here. Santa Clarita is kind of like another country. The people who don't come here. So I think all those factors, the distance, the morning, the traffic, and her busyness, has precluded her from joining us. And it's a shame, because she's an amazing, amazing woman. So maybe we can get her to join us another time. So I'm going to perform the induction of the officers because I've done it a number of times. And it's good to brush up the skills. I first of all am going to ask the outgoing officers that are here to please stand so I can release you from your duties. That would be Paula Wooden as the president, Susie Denver as the vice president of education, me as the vice president of membership and VPPR, which is public relations, Joshua Bevan was the secretary, Kathleen Lubin as our treasurer, and Mike Carlin, who was replaced by Risa somewhere along the line, who's not here right now. So I want to thank you for your service to the club for the past almost 12 months. I trust that you've gained some skills that are transferable into the real world. But this club benefited hugely from your service, and we thank you. And I officially release you from your duties. I would like now to call up in order those who are here for the new positions. We have Riza, who is not here, who's going to be the sergeant at arms. We have Kathleen Lubin, who's going to continue as our treasurer. Please come up here. We have Bill Guthrie, who's going to be our vice president of public relations, and he had a car problem this morning, so he's not with us. The vice president of membership, Stephen Winter. Come up, please, Stephen. The vice president of education is going to be myself, and the president is going to be Cersei Denyer. Please come up. Oh, and the secretary, oh my goodness, Cindy Stevens. If you're in the end.
That way.
So we have Kathleen, Cindy, Stephen. Okay. Thank you. Treasurer. Hold the gavel and you'll pass it on once I've inducted you. Kathleen, you are going to continue to be our treasurer. Nothing moves without money, right? Money makes things move. Kathleen does an excellent job in helping new members sign up. Our membership form is complicated, and she makes it very easy to understand how to complete it and how to pay in a way that's easy for you. Plus, she's in charge of collecting the dues when the renewal periods come up, which is in April and in October. So Kathleen, are you willing to continue in your duty as the Daybreak treasurer?
I am.
And I am happy to present to you our treasurer pin to signify the acceptance of this important role. Thank you. They say no job is complete till the paperwork is done, right? And our secretary has the very critical role of keeping track, not only the highlights of what happens in our meeting, because everything tracked that goes towards awards, leadership awards and speaking awards. But also, she keeps track of what takes place in our business meetings, which happen, I don't know how often, they were happening once a month. Now that we're in charge, we may not have it so often. But nonetheless, the secretary is the historian for the club, and it's a very critical role. And we're thrilled to have such an esteemed professor take this role. So, I'm willing to accept the role of secretary, the historian, the gatekeeper for Daybreak Toastmasters.
I am.
Pleased to present with you the club pin
Thank you.
as secretary.
Thank you.
Please pass it. Pardon? I have to redo that.
Okay, we do not have a membership pin right now.
Oh, okay,
We
we
would
don't
have to
have a
buy one.
membership pin right now, we will get it. Who has it? It's not me, is it?
It's in the mail.
Okay. Well, what we do is have people put the pin on their name tag here, so it's never forgotten. But the membership person was a rascal and ran off with it, so. Now, the vice president of public relations, the vice president of public relations is not here. And I also forgot to mention the sergeant-at-arms. I want to touch on these roles, even though the individuals are not here. It is believed, and I believe it, the sergeant-at-arms, which looks like the lowest person on the totem pole, is actually the most important person. Why? Because they set up the room, they established the climate that we experience, especially for guests when you first walk into this room. They greet the guest, they answer any guest questions, and they make the room comfortable. And a critical role. And Riza, while he was filling in for Mike Carter, did that splendidly. So we're thrilled to have him continue. And Vice President of Public Relations is the person that gets the word out about the club. Looks like we're doing a good job. We have several guests here. They also keep the club website up to date with photos and videos and things like that. And Bill is an outstanding person for that because he likes doing social media. Anybody in here love doing social media stuff? Yeah. Okay, then we come to Stephen Winter, one of our newer members who's stepping right up into the leadership role. And we appreciate that. The Vice President of Membership greets the guests, makes sure they have a guest packet, answers any questions the guest may have, and lovingly guides them to Kathleen should they be interested in joining us. Very critical role, pivotal in the growth of this club. Stephen Winter, are you willing to accept this important role? Oh, we don't have a pin for it yet. We will. We will. On behalf of Daybreak.
I am.
Great, thank you. I am taking the role of Vice President of Education. My role is to have a silk whip, silk gloves, and encourage all of you.
That's a picture.
Wouldn't you rather have it be me? To move you along on your speaking and leadership goals. We never coerce you. This is a self-paced program, but I will always encourage you. And as your Vice President of Education, I've got some pretty cool themes set up. For example, starting to watch videos of the world champions of public speaking and evaluating them. You'd be surprised. You can find areas for improvement, even if people at that level. Plus, of course, you learn from their incredible, astonishing performances. That's just the beginning of my idea as Vice President of Education. So do I accept this role? Kicking and screaming, yes. And finally, Stacey Daniel, please come up. Stacey Daniel is the ultimate leader of this club. We are very lucky because this is a naturally born, talented leader and teacher. She's only been in Toastmasters a little over 2 years, and she achieved the Distinguished Toastmaster Award in 18 months, which is pretty darn rare. Usually it takes what took me a long time. And for those who forget, I've been in Toastmasters since '87. To give you a perspective of what this woman can do and does. We already saw her performance as a tabletop master. She brings heart, intelligence, and caring to this role. We are very lucky to have her as our president. So, Madam Cersei Daniel, are you willing to accept this critical role as the president of the ever-expanding dynamic Daybreak Toastmasters.
I am.
Would you please accept this pin and our congratulations? And I would like all of the members to stand and guests. No, you don't have to stand, guests. It might feel funny not standing. But guests, please stand. Everybody, excuse me. Everybody, please stand. It's in here, isn't it?
That's what I got.
I can't find it. But as club members, do you promise to fulfill the Toastmasters promise? Support the officers by showing up, participating, and being a vital part of the culture and culture-led, I'm a little late, of the Daybreak Toastmasters Club. Yes?
Yes.
Aye? Great, thank you, have a seat. I now ask the other officers to take a seat, and we need Sissy Denyer. I present to you the president of Daybreak Toastmasters, Sissy Denyer.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. This is exciting and have great plans for this club. I know we're going to grow. My wish is that we grow personally and as a club. I would like to ask our guests what you thought. I'm going to ask Tyler to speak first because I met him in the parking lot this morning and I feel like I already know him. Tyler, would you tell us what you thought of the meeting?
Do I need to come up and?
No, you can stand where you are, you can just talk.
I was impressed. I think it's a valuable opportunity, and I think it's a great way to improve yourself and grow. And I kind of didn't believe that was off the cuff when you came up, and I'm blown away, very impressed. So, thank you. Yeah.
That's the fun part of the meeting. Cody, you've been here a couple of times. What'd you think?
Yeah, this is my second time as guest, and all the things Tyler just said, I'm really impressed with everyone speaking, especially Jerry's there. I thought the same thing. I was like, no, that was like, he's practiced that. That was, in his back pocket somewhere or something. But and I'm really excited to improve myself as a speaker and contribute to the club. And so,
Right.
yeah.
Excellent. Chris?
I'm just going to echo what they said. I feel the same way. It's impressive. This for me is a vehicle to improve myself in my career, and it's a chance to bond with my son.
Great. Awesome. Welcome. Greg?
Great. Yes, I was also very impressed. It was interesting. It felt like improv or like an improv class or something along those lines. Yeah, everyone was very impressive. Does make me a bit nervous to think about participating in some of those roles, but it's very interesting.
Well, thank you all for coming, especially to our guests. And to echo what you said, we never force anybody. Even in table topics, if as table topics master I were to call on you and you had a really bad moment and you just couldn't, you could say pass. It's always optional. Everything's volunteer in Toastmasters. There's nothing you have to do. We ask you to, but if you don't have to. With that, I would like to invite any of you that are interested. We do meet after the meeting at the Corner Bakery at the corner of Valencia and McBean, just to meet socially. For new members, we often go over other things that we can't cover in a 1-hour meeting. We have mentoring group sessions on the alternate Thursdays, so a week from today, we will have a mentoring meeting at 7 a.m. at the Corner Bakery. And that's also to go over things that we can't fit in to our regular meeting. One of the leaders in the group usually will give some sort of mini training and then answer questions. What I have discovered about the Corner Bakery is it's a great place to bond. One more thing, well actually 2 more things, there's some activities coming up that I'd like to announce to everybody. One is we are going to have a New Year's Eve party on June 30th. The time and place to be announced. It'll be a dinner, probably a dinner evening thing. We're going to allow Paula the opportunity to be the honoree for that evening. She will be leaving. It'll be our New Year's Eve for our new year, which starts July 1st. So we're doing a New Year's Eve party. And you're all welcome. With that, I would like to bring the meeting of Daybreak Toastmasters Santa Clarita to a close.